Hi everybody, Jo here. Thanks so much for popping in today. Now, it's just an extra little video today. Now, it might be one that you find useful, it might be one that you don't, so it's a take it or leave it one. I don't mind, I'm not precious. And what it is one of our lovely friends and followers, Janice Haycock, sent me an email asking about the pencils that I used and that I've been using in my videos. And rather than email back and sort of try and explain things, I thought it was easier to just pop in and Janice speak to you directly here. And I just think it's easier for me to do that. Obviously, at the end of the video, if you still have any questions, drop me another email. I'm happy to answer. I just thought this was an easier way. So the pencils that I use, now through my crafting almost career and craft journey, I've used lots of different pencils. There are so many good watercolour pencils on the market. I've had Faber-Castell, I've had lots of different colouring pencils. And again, it depends what you're using and what you need them for. I also have certain colouring pencils that are good, which I let the children use. Inktense pencils are really good. So, and you will find that you get the ones that you are happy with. I know we say it's a bit like cooking. You have sometimes your favourite cooking utensils, don't you? Or you might be a gas or an electric or a, agar. And you have favourites. So I use for most of my videos at the minute, and I'm not very good at saying it, so I've put the box here. I call them Mondeluz. Now, I'm not sure if that's how you spell it, but I've put it here so that you can screenshot it if you need, and it will help. Now, these are water soluble. I find them really useful. Now, I've got the pack of 36. They do a larger pack. For me, for all the YouTubes that I do and my samples that I do, I manage with enough colours with what I've got. But again, it's personal choice. If you want a bigger pack, go for it. Now, they do come in a cardboard case. Now, I must admit, I'm not keen on cardboard. And I had a lovely friend, Anne Redfern, who sadly passed away last year. And she made me this lovely out of Tim Holtz fabric. And she put paintbrushes in it when she gave it to me for my 60th birthday. But when I got my new pencils, I thought, you know what? It's fabulous. And this is where I house my pencils. I've taken 3 red ones out, look. Well, 2 red and a brown. And for me, it works really well. And I just find my colours are in colour groups, and it protects. When I go and do my workshops, I find they're protected in the roll, and it doesn't take up a lot of room. And it's really good because for me, Anne travels with me. So when it comes to the pencils, I've just stamped a very quick design here just to show you. Now, lots of way of cut. Sorry, we've got an Eric hair here. That'll teach me. It's because I put my pencil roll on the carpet under my chair where he lies. I just find it easy to pick things up and off the floor. And also, if I put them on my desk, I worry I'll knock them onto the floor and the lead will break. I'm very precious over, now things like pencils can be an expensive purchase, and I'm thinking with Christmas coming up, it's a good thing to ask. I don't know about you, but often family will say to me, what do you want? And I might say, well, why don't 2 or 3 of you group together and buy me a really good set of pencils? Just a thought. Now, colouring, I tend to have, I call it Cheats colouring, and a couple you've messaged and said, we're going to call it Jo colouring because Cheats colouring doesn't sound good, but basically it is. I'm not a colourist. There are lots of people out there who are fabulous at colouring in. They've had art training, and honestly, watch them. They will give you such good hints and tips. Me, I just want something that looks good, but because I tend to make a lot of cards, it doesn't take me a long time. But also I'm aware that quite a lot of you have got either dexterity problems, health issues, and you haven't got all day to spend colouring one card. If you want to happily colour away, by all means do that. Now, the pencils have numbers on them, and I tend to at the beginning of a video, but also at the end in the description, I'll mention the numbers. So today I've got 30, 132 and 170 out. Now, basically, what I tend to do is pick a light, dark and medium colour of the colour. Now, I'm going to make these berries red. But in my reds, I've really only got a bright red and a dark red. but brown makes a very good deep red. So it's a good colour to add. Or I could have had this as my deep red, this as my mid, and got an orange or a yellow. That would have worked nicely. And what I tend to do is, if I show you here on this big bud here, Tracy's drawn where the darkest of the colour would be. So I tend to start off with that, and I'll put some brown there, and I'll just colour a couple while I'm at it. Now the buds I tend to do more brown on. And it's up to you, you can either colour them one at a time. And again, try and get in the habit of leaning on copy paper or kitchen roll, just so we can keep this white space white. So next I'll come in with the deeper red, and I tend to just go over that brown just to blend it. And then I'll just fill the next lot of space. And I find this way, if I go dark to light, as I say, that red, I can blend over that brown. So it's starting that blending process. And I'm just going to add a little bit over these buds. And then what I'm going to do with the lightest colour, the red now, come in. Now I will colour the whole thing. Sometimes I'll leave a white area where I want my white highlight. But for the video today, I'll just colour the whole thing to give you an idea. And what I'm doing is, because I'm going over that darker red and the brown, it will blend the colours together nicely. And for me, it's just a way of almost speeding up that process. Now, if you wanted it darker, you could come in at this point, look, and add a little bit of your darker colour, but I'm happy with that. Now, because the water reactive pencils, you could actually leave them if you haven't got any water. Quite often what I do is take the white, the number 1, and I'll actually blend, I'll do it on this one here, blend all the colours together with the number 1. Now also, if you noticed, I did a video you will get a little bit of pencil, sorry, I just wiped that off on here. I did a video a couple of weeks ago with craft card, and these are the pencils I use, so they work beautifully on craft card as well. So you could just blend them with the white pencil, just leave them as they are. The other thing you can do, the water reactive, so you could get a paintbrush and paint. But what I'm going to do is, I've got a clear Wink of Stella, and what this means is I can add a little bit of sparkle. Now again, it could be you want to just use a fine paintbrush, and I'll just show you with one of them. Don't want it too wet, just blend the colour right. Now it might be you want to do that and then come in and add some stickles, or you don't want sparkle. But for me, I want sparkle, so I'm going to use my clear Wink of Stella, and what it will do, it will blend those colours together, but also when it's dry, it will add that lovely sparkle. Now, the clear Wink of Stella brush at the end will pick up a little bit of the red colour, or obviously blue if we were having blue berries. And again, the kitchen roll here that I'm leaning on is fabulous. It's so useful because I can just clean the nib when I've finished, and it will go back to clear. So again, look, if I do that, give it a little, there we go, and then look, that's gone back to perfectly clear. So it doesn't harm it in any way. But what it means, look, is for me, when that dries, I'll get more of that fabulous sparkle. And it's just a great way, I mean, a little, this is part of tomorrow's video, but look, I've coloured the bauble. And for me, so these pencils are fabulous, and I can literally, with a couple of colours, create a design like this. And once that's dry, you can come in with your white pen and add some highlights, look. But it's best to let it dry. So like I say, you can use them just as they are. You can add water, you can add wink of Stella. The other thing that they're very good for is if you stamp a silhouette stamp, these will colour over the top of your Versafine Clair ink pads. Not all pencils will, some of them won't show up, but I know Mona uses them a lot over the top and will change the colour. If she's stamped a flower in, say, a black Versafine and she wants to add colour, she'll use these, sometimes on their own, sometimes with Posca. So there's a lot of advantages to these. So I hope that helps. And the other thing you mentioned was the pastel pencils. Now, again, there's lots of different makes of soft pastel pencils around. I've got the Koh-I-noor set, and there's 24. And again, for me, I find 24 is perfect. To be honest, I could probably get away if they did a smaller set, but I like to have the choice. And I can show you, and being honest, look, you will see the colours I use most. The white, followed by the black, and then I'm trying to use the grey and the brown more. The light blue I've been using a lot. And these really, they're very chalky. They're a pastel, obviously in a pencil form, so they're quite dusty. The white is fabulous for highlights, and there's a lovely off-white. The yellow's very good if you stamp orbs. It's almost for adding shade. The way they work is very different. The black is my main one for shade. If I'm making a snowy scene and I want some shade, the light blue's beautiful. So these will be what you see me using when I say my soft pastel pencils. These are the ones. And just to give you a very quick idea, look, I've stamped a little image on the back here. So if I wanted to highlight any areas, I'll use the white looks. If I want to give him a bit of shape there, highlight on his feet. If you want to add the moon, just so it's got a little bit of... Now, can you see? You almost get that pastel residue. Now, if you smudge it with your finger, what happens is two things. One, I think it looks nicer, but two, it will fix it. If you create a whole design with your pastel pencils, you need to use a spray fixative. But the small amount I use, just by smudging it, it keeps it perfect for me. So if I wanted to add some shade here, look, what I could do is come in with my dark green, because we've got grass here, and just under his feet, look, and the moon's there. So I know the shadow's going to go this way. So I can just come in with some shadow. And then what I would do is over the top is add a little bit of black. So I've almost got the black and the green. You could just add black, but I find if I add the colour as well, it gives me a more professional look. With this having black, I tend not to smudge with my finger. Can you tell I've been gardening? Look, I'm really sorry, but I needed to get my cyclamen in. And I've more chance of getting finger marks. So I get these. They're just biodegradable cotton buds. You can get blending stumps, but again, I go through so many of these. And if I just do a sideways motion, look, what I find is, like I say, it looks better. It looks more like a shadow, but also it fixes it then, look, and it won't move. So again, I think they'd be perfect for something like a Christmas present or a birthday present, or just treat yourself present. But when it comes to adding the extra little bits to your work, little things like the extra little bit of shading, highlights, as I say, orbs, you know, if you wanted, again, I'm not going to use this. So say I wanted to make this, say the umbrella was an orb, just to give you an idea, and I wanted to make a glow around it. I could put the yellow on as a glow. So we're talking this is an orb. And then I can use this lighter colour next to it. And then come in with my white and blend the two colours. And then blend into the white. And it gives you that glow. I mean, you could put that round the sun. You can put it, as I say, around an orb. And it just, as I say, they are a wave. It's a total different thing. So we've gone from adding that lovely colour and that deep colour and the shimmer. And next we've gone to adding just our lovely finishing touches with highlights and shades. So they're the two that I use. So Janice, I really hope that's helped. I'll put the two packages on, and don't ask me why, I always put that lid on upside down. So that's the pastel pencils, and these are my water reactive pencils. As I say, if there's anything that I didn't cover there, just drop me another email and let me know. I really hope it's helped. As I say, just a quick video, a bit of an information video. And you know what? It's timed me perfectly. It's coffee time because I've been on grandma duties this morning. So we've had the boys here for breakfast, walked them to school, walked back. So I definitely deserve a coffee. So I hope that's helped. You take care. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.